The 25th Annual Student Research Conference. Presented by Brigham Young University's College of Physical and Mathematical Sciences. Branding GASSAWAY, fighting birth defects with fruit flies. The process by which a single cell becomes a complex organism is called development. As the cells divide, they generate and respond to signals which determine what they will become, such as muscle, neuron, or skin cell. Defects in signaling pathways can result in a variety of problems from birth defects to cancer. The Bates lab uses the common fruit fly as a model organism to study cell development. Brandon Gassaway, a senior biochemistry major, examined the role of inwardly rectifying, or ERK, channels in the process of development. ERK channels are transmembrane proteins that allow potassium ions into, but not out of, a cell. The Bates lab began studying ERK channels because of a human genetic disease that is characterized by several birth defects called Anderson-Towle syndrome and is caused by a mutation in an ERK channel. By exploring these mutant channels in fruit flies, they hope to find out how mutant ERK channels cause the birth defects observed in humans. Their results may give insight into the formation of birth defects or the formation of tumors in humans. Rob Smith, preventing heart disease with the sound of your heart. Heart disease is the leading cause of death in the world. Doctors diagnose some heart diseases by measuring pulmonary artery pressure, also known as PAP, or the pressure inside this artery in the heart. Most often, PAP is measured by right heart catheterization, an invasive procedure where doctors make an incision in the patient's thigh and feed a sensor-tipped tube through an artery up to the heart chamber. There are other options which are less invasive. However, they are inaccurate, time-intensive, and expensive. Rob Smith's new method digitally records heartbeat sounds with microphones attached to the chest. Then, computers evaluate the signal with complex math formulas to predict a patient's PAP value. This process is computationally expensive and would take over 40 years of processing time on a regular desktop computer. Using BYU's Fulton supercomputer, the processing step can be done in just 3 months. This method can accurately predict pulmonary artery pressure without surgery and without the cost and time requirement of current methods. Maria Acey, From Glaciers to Rivers, Water in the Himalayas. Everybody needs water, but where that water comes from varies from place to place. In the Himalayas, large quantities of water are stored as ice in glaciers, which provide water for several major rivers like the Indus. Changes in the storage capacity of glaciers can affect downstream river flow, irrigation potential, and hydroelectric power options. Due to the potential significance of these glaciers to water resources, Maria Acey is designing a mathematical model to calculate how much water will melt from more than 2,600 glaciers which feed the Indus River in the northwestern Himalayas. First, Acey and her fellow researchers gathered information about the size, elevation, and location of the glaciers, as well as regional climate factors like temperature, which could affect glacier melt. Using MATLAB, a mathematical modeling program, they were able to calculate a range of potential glacier melt volumes for the Indus watershed. These values range from 33 to 142 cubic kilometers. On average, that is enough water to fill the Great Salt Lake 4.5 times each year. That is a lot of water. By understanding the importance of glaciers in connection with water resources, people will be able to be more prepared for the future water needs in the region. Ryan Jensen, finding the shortest distance between A and B, and C, and D. Most people know that the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. But what is the shortest path connecting 3 points? Or 4 points? How about the shortest path connecting n points? Finding the shortest path interconnecting a given set of fixed points is known as the Steiner problem. Ryan Jensen, a senior from the Department of Mathematics, is working to solve the Steiner problem on surfaces of revolution. A surface of revolution is formed by rotating a two-dimensional curve about the y-axis. For example, This straight line, rotated about the y-axis, generates a cone. This parabola generates a paraboloid. The Steiner problem on the surfaces of revolution consists of a surface along with a set of fixed points on the surface. What is the shortest path connecting these points? Maybe this, or this, or how about this? The technique Ryan and Dr. Halverson are developing involves projecting the points from a surface onto a plane. This projection can be used to find geodesics, the equivalent of straight lines on a surface between points. The problem can then be solved on the plane and projected back onto the surface. The Steiner problem can be used to solve complicated problems, such as building telephone networks that minimize the amount of materials needed. A variant of the Steiner problem, called the rectilinear Steiner problem, restricts the direction lines can run to only up and down or left and right. This problem is frequently used in manufacturing computer chips, where it is necessary to connect certain components. Kelly Campbell, positioned to fail? Social interactions are crucial to learning mathematics, even in classes where teachers lecture a majority of the time. When people interact socially, they position each other and themselves. We can think of these positions as temporary roles, such as rebellious student or sympathetic teacher. As these positions are taken up or imposed, they encourage people to act and participate in certain ways. They even suggest how people should feel and what they should value. Because positions constrain actions, emotions, and beliefs, they can have a strong impact on learning. Traditional instruction positions students as blank slates and teachers as storehouses of knowledge. Research has shown that these positions greatly limit students' learning. New forms of mathematics instruction have been developed and implemented in the classroom to counteract the negative effect of these positions. One of the purposes of Campbell's research is to examine what positions teachers and students take on in these new forms of instruction. A second purpose is to analyze how these positions may be contributing to student failure in these new forms of instruction. With this research, we may be able to improve the teaching and learning of mathematics. Lauren Richey, the photonic beetle, manipulating visible light. Despite living in a day full of modern amenities, we continually seek to develop the newest, fastest, and smallest devices. Photonic crystals, which are similar to semiconductors, are microscopic periodic structures that allow only certain wavelengths of light to pass through the crystal. Due to their light-guiding properties, photonic crystals have the ability to take us to the next technological age of even smaller and faster devices that function with light rather than electricity. Advances could be applicable in the areas of miniature lasers, optical computer chips, and enhanced fiber optics. However, photonic crystals are difficult to manufacture because the structures must be small enough, along the order of hundreds of nanometers, to interact with wavelengths of visible light. Instead of trying to fabricate tiny structures, researchers have turned to structures in nature to use as templates to create photonic crystals. In a collaborative effort with the University of Utah and with the help of scanning electron microscopes, Lauren Richey is analyzing the iridescent scales of beetles to find natural photonic crystal structures. The structures identified in the beetle's scales are a diamond crystal lattice, a predicted but never before observed ideal photonic crystal. Although the structure of the insect scale is useful, the material that makes up the scale will not work as a photonic crystal. Using a chemical replication technique, the insect scale is templated into a new type of material, such as silica or titanium, to create a usable photonic crystal that can manipulate visible light. Michelle Withers, Personalizing the Cure, Improving Cancer Recovery Using Statistics. When it comes to diagnosing and treating cancer, it is essential to get patients the most effective and efficient treatments possible. However, because cancer is such a complex disease with many different genetic problems, each case is different. Thus, cancer treatment regimens should be personalized for every individual. Researchers in the Department of Statistics, Michelle Withers and Dr. Evan Johnson, in conjunction with researchers at the University of Utah and the Huntsman Cancer Institute, are developing individual biological profiles to identify individuals who will respond to specific treatments. To accomplish this task, they are using a statistical model that incorporates information from biological pathways, allowing the genetic information from an individual's cancer to dictate which treatment is given. This will enable the most effective and efficient treatments to be given as soon as possible, improving the odds of cancer recovery.